Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद श्रील गुरुदेव की जय, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय, संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय, गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल जय. So, Hare Krishna, everybody. Welcome to today's session of Conceptual Overview of Bhagavad-Gita. Today we're discussing session 9, Bhakti Yoga. So, we will discuss some fundamentals of Bhakti Yoga. Okay. So, where we are, we already covered introduction, importance of human life, importance of studying Bhagavad-Gita, and also we discussed the 5 main topics among Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, Karma. Karma is the only one which is material and which is temporary. So because it can be made to zero, but especially by doing Bhakti Yoga. And we also in the last session discussed different yoga systems. We summarized everything. Also, we discussed the yoga ladder, like it's like as if like a staircase. If one takes up gradually, but if he takes the Bhagavad-Gita, Bhakti Yoga, then it's like a escalator. We can directly attain the final goal of Krishna Prema, and where the results of all other yogas are already included in them. So that's what we concluded, that Krishna also declares that Bhakti Yoga is the topmost yoga system. So that's why we are devoting this session today, especially to understand more philosophy actually of Bhakti Yoga. Like it's not just sentiment. So there's deep philosophy included in that. So like what are the main things we need to know? Like who is qualified for Bhakti Yoga? What are the results? What are the stages? All these things we'll discuss today. And of course, up ahead, we'll have interesting things everybody wants to know, about mind, how to control mind, and other things will come up in future sessions. Okay, so we discussed all this, and now we are going to have a special session on Bhakti Yoga. Okay, so we'll get started. So we already discussed coming to the root of it. Yoga is coming from a dhatu, or the root form of the verb called yuj and ghai, but there can be multiple meanings for yuj. So then essence of all this, summary of all this is, in all the yoga processes, there is the process itself should help in control in the mind of senses and also uniting them with Supreme. So gradually we'll discuss how Bhakti Yoga will help in control of mind and senses, especially when we talk about chanting, Harinam Sankirtana and everything. Okay. And of course, because we are trying to directly remember Krishna, then we are uniting with Krishna automatically. And we also discussed different categories of human beings. There are so many varieties. So obviously, people have different inclinations. So there should be different paths. We cannot just say everybody just follow this path. Otherwise, there is no hope for you. So that's why we have like Karma Yoga or Karma Kandi, where Sakama, they have desires, they want to go to Swarga. Nishkama, they don't have desires, but they just do their duties diligently out of matter of duty. Then they get gradually purified. Then eventually they'll get some knowledge. Then they get stuck in Jnana platform. Then they call Jnana Yogis. Otherwise, they can gradually go to some personal features of super soul within the heart. They will become Ashtanga Yogi. Then eventually they will understand, oh, I want to interact with Krishna or Bhagavan. I want to have relationships. I want to have loving dealings. Then they will take up Bhakti Yoga. Okay. So also we discussed that Krishna is Satchidananda Vigraha. He is the form of Sat, eternity, Chit, knowledge, and Ananda. Whereas in all the other yogas, you only realize a part of his feature. Whereas Bhakti Yoga will give access to the full features. You always exist and you will be full in knowledge and will also experience complete happiness of the soul at as much as the potential the soul can have, that much we can experience in the Bhakti Yoga because of the dealings directly with Bhagavan, who is Satchidananda Vigraha. Okay, so that was the previous one. Now we also discuss the ladder. Um, this can also be a staircase or the direct method, and there is a exit points for each of the yoga system, and mainly triggered by the association of devotees. That even though we were stuck in a certain platform, if we get a association of devotees, we can understand the glory of bhakti and the process and how easy it is, how practical it is, and then we take up in earnest then we can rapidly make progress towards self-realization. This is the conclusion of Sri Krishna. Because we already discussed this, I'm going very fast and summarizing so that we can get to the actual session. योगिनामपि सर्वेषां मद्गतेनन्तरात्मना श्रद्धावान् भजते यो मां समे युक्ततमा मतः. Yukta is also connected to the same dhatu, yuj. Yukta means connected. Tamaha, the greatest person, the highest person, like high, higher, and highest. So Tama is the highest person who is connected with me, is the one who Shraddhavan Bhajate, who worships me, Mam, worships me with Shraddha. So that is a devotee. He Krishna himself declares in 6th chapter. So now we will come to little bit more details into Bhakti Yoga. So that is our today's session. We also discuss what is Bhakti, right? Bhakti is not just sentiment. It's not just some, feeling. It's actually active service, devotional service, based on just going to the root of it. Bhaja, sevayam. That's a definition given by acharyas in the Sanskrit world. So bhaja itself means seva. So we cannot say I'm doing bhakti without doing some service. So it should actually explicitly. Many people criticize, oh, why are you just should do making a show? Keep all your devotion in your heart. Don't make a show. Of course, we should not make a show to irritate others and trouble others. But when the devotion is there, we want to express the devotion, and also we will see actually why we should do that, because that is the way we can actually get the real, genuine raga or attachment to Bhagavan. There are two types of bhakti. We'll discuss that today. So it's called devotional service. And in 12th chapter, Krishna gives actually gradation or kind of, what to say, grades of devotees. So he's saying these are the verse numbers if you want to look up the actual verse and the meaning and the purports. Like what he's saying is, first he says, Mayeva mana adatsva. Mayi means in me. That's a Sanskrit mayi in me, eva certainly, mana, mind, adhatsva, fix. So fix your mind upon me. That's the highest level. That is called smaranatmika bhakti, where a devotee is constantly thinking about Krishna's form, Shyamasundar form, is thinking about his pastimes, what is happening in the spiritual world. Even though he's here, he's constantly thinking, okay, this time now, okay, see, for example, now 8:44. Now Krishna is eating his breakfast. Radharani is invited to Krishna's home because she got a special blessing that whoever eats her food will always stay healthy. So Yashoda Mata sends an agent to bring Radharani, and she after taking bath, she gets well dressed and she comes to Nandagaon and to Nandagram, to Yashoda Mata's home, and she elaborately cooks a great feast for Krishna under the direction of Rohini Mata, who is Balram's mother. And with so much love and affection, she cooks so many items. So many items are described. Then Krishna with his friends, he sits on the table and he's eating with Madhumangal and other friends. And because the culture is the girls cannot interact in front of the boys, so they are behind and they're just watching what Krishna is eating. And then Krishna from the side, once in a while, he looks at the girls just to encourage them. And then after Krishna eats, what will happen is that Krishna leaves some remnants. Then all the girls, they get the remnants, and Radharani and gopis, they relish the remnants of Krishna because it's mixed with the nectar of his lotus lips. That's a prasada basically, they also relish the prasada. Similarly, we also offer bhoga to Krishna and Radharani, and then we relish the prasada. So this is how the devotee is thinking. What is Krishna doing right now in the spiritual world? And even though he's doing his duties here, internally he's trying to cultivate the remembrance of the Krishna's Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela, and all the activities, how he behaves, how he interacts, everything. So it's a cultivation. That's a different type of bhakti. I will discuss that in a. It's called Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti, actually. Anyway, then if suppose we cannot do this, initially itself, I saw all of you were asking, oh, I want to remember Krishna all the time. What should I do, right? So this is a very topmost, this is the highest level of bhakti. Okay. So he's saying, if you cannot do this, what will happen? What you can do is, my buddhim niveshaya. Engage your intelligence in me. That means we can think about scriptures, read the purports, understand the philosophy, use your intelligence in understanding the philosophy, use the intelligence in doing service to Krishna, like that. Manana, this is called Mananatmika Bhakti. So we use, for example, this session right now, I used my intelligence to think about the verses, read the purports, put everything together, how should be the flow, everything. And then finally, now we are talking about it, right? So this is mananatmika bhakti. So if you cannot fix the mind, this is the highest level. Mind, usually things don't reach our mind or even heart actually easily. We don't allow things to reach our heart. Okay, so next level is at least you use your intelligence to say, okay, let me think about Krishna, let me hear this lecture, let me like that. Then in both of the cases, what Krishna is telling is, you will live in me always without a doubt. In both the cases, because you're always thinking about him, no, thinking about him or his philosophy or anything. So you're always connected with him. That's yoga, connected with him. Suppose we cannot even do this, we cannot even read on our own and always do this 24 hours, for example. Then he says, Abhyasa Yogena, you do some practice. This is called regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. So by doing a practice, Abhyasa Rupa Bhakti, what will happen? Gradually, you will develop a desire to attain me. So the desire is not there for us right now. But by luck, by Krishna's mercy, causeless mercy, if we get association of devotees, they tell us, oh, there's a process by which we can remove the impurities in our heart and remove the avidya and ignorance we have about Krishna and our relationship with Krishna, and we can trigger or invoke the desire within him and also happiness to attain him. So the desire becomes strong. Then gradually with the practice, it becomes so strong that it actually comes to the higher stages like this. So it's a very, very gradual process. If we don't have this, we don't have this, all we have to do is a practice. So that is where we will focus today, because that's where most of us are. So how do I practice then to get to perfection? See, it's as if like even doctors, right? While they're studying, there is apprenticeship where they are learning under a expert doctor. They are trained how to do it. Then finally, when they become perfect, they are given chance to do operation on their own. So like that, there is a practice for that. So what that is nothing but sadhana bhakti. Okay. So categories of bhakti, if you say, we first of all definition of bhakti also we touched upon. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhyanavritam anukulyena krishnano sheelanam bhakti uttama. Uttama bhakti, topmost bhakti or pure devotional service is one which is without any desire for anything else. Our only desire is to please Krishna or his devotees. Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. So that became zero. Other desires became zero. We are not doing for money. We are not doing for fame. We are not doing even for removing our distress. So what if I have the desire to remove distress? I will come to that point also. Right now, we may not be so pure. I'm doing it because, oh, I'm miserable. I want something, right? That's okay. I will tell you how we can proceed further to become pure in our desire. And it should be not with any impersonal jnana and also desire for fruitive results, like for example for svarga and other things, karma kanda, we don't have the desire for all of that. Then it should be favorable, anukulyena, it should be pleasing to Krishna. We cannot keep thinking Krishna as an enemy and say, I'm thinking of Krishna all the time, because it may not be pleasing to him. We should think of Krishna like a beautiful boyfriend, or as a son, or any of the five rasas, right? Anushilanam means practice. That is where is a practice. We practice with our senses, with our mind, with our intelligence, and we practice with um, every heart. When we by higher level, we can be involved in Krishna with emotions at emotion level. So that is becomes topmost bhakti ruttama. So when I was teaching Srimad Bhagavatam to our kids when they were 5 year old, right, to teach the concept like how to control our senses. So the way to control our senses is to engage them in Krishna's service. So to do that, I composed a short poem for them. So I'll try to sing here. So we say like basically we have five main senses, right? Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and then touch. So we can say, with my eyes I see Radha Krishna, with my ears I hear about Krishna. With my nose I smell tulasi, with my tongue I taste prasadam, with my skin I touch devotees. This is how I serve Krishna with the senses he gave me. So Krishna only gave the senses, the way to purify the senses. Right now, the senses are torturing us. They're pulling us here and there. Oh, let me watch this movie. Let me hear this. They're pulling in like as if like five horses are riding a chariot, pulling the chariot. The soul is sitting in the chariot, and each horse is each of the sense are pulling in different directions, and soul is crying where to go. Right? That's how we are always disturbed and agitated. But when the senses are used in devotional service, that's what we are discussing. Sadhana bhakti is called Kruti Sadhya. When the senses are engaged in Krishna service, they get calm, they get satisfied, they get purified. So the soul can finally be happy. So this bhakti, sadhana bhakti, this is called sadhana bhakti, is defined as sadhana and bhava and prema. There's three stages for that. So Uttama Bhakti is, we discussed this earlier also. Uttama Bhakti is called sadhana. It's a practice stage. And the goal, sadhya is a goal. By doing the practice, what do we get? Goal. Goal is bhava, where slowly somebody experiences emotions. There are symptoms for this also that we'll discuss today. And also prema. When the bhava becomes mature, condensed, then we get prema, where even for a moment, they will not forget Krishna. Everything they see, even though they're in this world, whatever they see, they remember Krishna only. So that's a higher stage of prema. At that stage, Krishna himself becomes, that's called Krishna Akarshani. Krishna becomes so attracted that he cannot control himself. He will directly come and interact with the devotee, even in this world. Okay. So that is from here, we have to come here, here, here. And there are stages for that, intermediate stages. We'll see that also. So sadhana bhakti, what is the definition of sadhana bhakti? Sadhana bhakti is कृति साध्य कृति साध्या भवेत् साध्या भावा सा साधनाभिधा नित्य सिद्धस्य भावस्य प्राकट्यं हृदि साध्यता. So what is sadhana bhakti is kruti sadhya. Kruti means basically instrument or basically the senses. With that sadhya, it's achieved. The sadhana bhakti is performed with senses. Of course, senses means both, and then of course it could be physical senses also, emotions, everything also comes into it, also part of it. Okay, then the result is sadhya bhava. Result is to get the bhava. It results sadhya, it results in bhava, final emotion with Krishna. Sa sadhana abhida, that is called as sadhana. Okay, and what is that feeling? How do we get that feeling? Initially we don't have. That is actually nitya siddhasya bhavasya. A pure devotee's emotions will touch our heart. That's how bhakti comes. Bhakti is completely spiritual. It's not, it cannot be manufactured with anything material. Our senses are fully material: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Then how can we, this material thing, generate something spiritual? It will not generate. It only descends from a heart of a person who already has devotion. So when we hear from them, when we do service from them, when they are pleased, and when that's how the bhakti touches our heart. Then with that, now when we start practicing it, we can increase it. So the pure devotee or spiritual master's heart or any other devotee, their emotion touches our heart. Then prakatyam, it appears hridi, in the heart, sadhyata. That's how it becomes achieved. So that's the definition of sadhana bhakti, is to actually use our senses actively. So it's not a show off. We are actively using the senses to purify them and then eventually invoke the emotions within the heart at the bhava level. So that is the definition. So that's why, our philosophy is very, very scientific. There is our Acharya Rupa Goswami, is a disciple of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He wrote a book called Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It has so many verses. It is basically, Sindhu means the ocean of Bhakti Rasa. Amrita, nectar, ocean of the nectar of Bhakti Rasas. We discussed, right, the difference between Bhakti Rasa and mundane Rasa. Bhakti Rasa is a feeling or joy a devotee experiences in devotion to Krishna. So that joy and the philosophy behind it, the stages and what are the rasas, how to experience, all these things is described so systematically in this book. Okay, then how does it work? Because I mentioned that we have material senses, but we are trying to cultivate bhakti, which is spiritual. Then how does it work actually? How does it work? The logic behind it. So the logic is Atha Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahyam indriyai sevon mukhehi jihvadau swayameva spuradyadaha. So he's saying Indriyaihi na bhaved grahyam. Indriyahi means with the senses, na grahyam bhavet. We cannot grab it. We cannot grab that bhakti. Indriyahi. What Sri Krishna Namadi, because all this Sri Krishna's name, Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela, all this of Krishna, it's completely spiritual. By our material senses, we cannot, um, grab it, or you can say grasp them, right? Then how does it possible? Then what is the hope for me? The hope is Sevon Mukhehi Jihwada. Oh, the attitude, the service attitude, Seva Unmukha, the service attitude with Jihwa, with the starting with the tongue. When we start doing service to Krishna with the tongue means uttering Krishna's names, also means to eat prasadam. Beginning with the services begin with the tongue. When we start doing it, because of the service attitude, Swayameva Spuratyada. So Swayam, the directly that Krishna Nama Rupa, everything will descend on us. So that's how it appears. It's not something we manufacture by doing. It's not like I'm chanting and I'm producing. The names will remain syllables, just mere syllables. Like it's like Jala, Jalam. How I say Jalam? Like that we say Krishna. There's no difference. But the difference is if you have that attitude, okay, I want to serve Krishna, I want devotion, I want to serve Krishna. With that attitude we do, then to that extent it will be revealed to us. That Krishna's name, Krishna are non-different. That will be revealed. And Krishna at one point will dance on our tongues. So this is our beautiful Krishna. Uh, okay. So there's a commentary from Sri Jiva Goswami. He says, how is it obtained? Krishna tad bhakta kripaika labhyam. It's obtained only by Krishna's mercy or by the devotee's mercy. That's why Krishna is not directly accessible to us. That's why devotees are very, very merciful messengers of that kripa, mercy. Okay, and that because that is Swarupa Shakti, because that bhakti is actually the one of the function of Srimati Radharani. Okay, so that cannot ataha aprakrutam api kayadi vritti tadatnyena eva tatra tatra avirbhutam iti gneyam. Even though it's aprakrutam, that bhakti is spiritual, kayadi means with the body, in the functions of the body, it merges. It becomes one with the our body senses. It descends basically. Bhakti descends on a person who has that service attitude. That's basically the concept. Okay. So now this is called Atidesha principle. I will not go too much into it. For example, we have temples in this world also, right? But we consider the temples and the murti as non-different from Krishna, in the sense of non-different from the original person. So how is it that that material, that form is also made of materials? Sometimes it's a marble, sometimes it's a metal, right? Then how is it that we consider him non-different from the original person? Because of the principle is called Atidesha. Atidesha principle means the original qualities of the original object completely gets invested in the object in this world by the pure devotee's prayer. There is something called prana pratishtha that is done in all the temples, or sometimes the vigraha are swayam, they appear on their own. So in all these cases, based on the pure devotee's desire, they become non-different from the original person, and the temple also similarly becomes non-different from Vaikunta. So similarly, even though we utter Krishna, like it may be mere syllables, because of the devotion and according to our attitude, the Bhakti Devi descends and it becomes spiritual and it starts giving results based on attitude. Okay, that's how it works. That's the essential of the philosophy. Now there are divisions for sadhana bhakti also. That's what I was discussing, right? Vaidhi, Raganuga. There are two divisions called Vaidhi and Raganuga. So what are these and what we are focusing on? The one I mentioned as Smaranatmika Bhakti is Raganuga Bhakti, where just I'll briefly touch because today we are not going to discuss this. It's a higher level thing. Anuga means to follow, Raga means attachment. So we follow the attachment of the Vrajavasis who have with Krishna, their spontaneous loving attachment they have with Krishna. At a higher stages, a devotee is directed by spiritual master to follow their mood so that they can also become spontaneous in their loving devotion, because that's the way they can enter Vrajalila. With the Vaidhi sadhana, one cannot enter Vrajalila. Okay, but only one has to shift from here to here at a certain point at higher stages. So this sadhana, again, the same chart, we didn't touch this part, but now this part, this sadhana is of two types, Vaidhi and Raganuga. So Vaidhi is what we are going to focus on today. So what is Vaidhi sadhana? Vaidhi means Vaida. You can see Vaidhi means Vidhi. Vidhi means rules. So basically, we are doing our bhakti based on rules and regulations because we don't have our innate desire. Yatra raga anavap anavap anavaptatvat. Yatra raga anavaptatvat prakritir upajayate shasane naiva shastrasya sa vaidhi bhakti ruchyate. So they don't have raga. We don't have raga, the natural attraction to Krishna. Anavaptaha means it's not there. We don't have. Therefore, what will happen? The proclivity, then the tendency to do bhakti is coming because of shasana, of what? Shastrasya. Shastra tells, do this, don't do this. Based on that, we do it. That's how it's called Vaidhi. Based on the rules and regulations, we do it. Okay, it's good for me. I should do this. I should do this. Based on that, we do. Okay, Bhagavad-Gita is telling, Bhagavatam is telling. See, for example, the Vrajavasis in spiritual world, they have natural attraction for Krishna. They have to actually they pray, Krishna, please, please go away from our heart. You're disturbing us. We are not able to do our domestic duties of taking care of children and everybody. You're bothering us. You're increasing our hankering to attain you, come to you. That's how they pray reverse. But here we have to tell Krishna, please make us attracted to you. So that because we don't have the raga. So they have spontaneous attraction. It's given that as if like a young boy is attracted to the young girl in this world, right? There is nothing to be taught. As soon as the puberty achieves, boy is always looking for girls and girls are always looking for boys. It's very spontaneous. So the same way, if we have that spontaneous attraction to Krishna, that is called raga actually, original raga, and that is exists only in the Vrajavasis in the spiritual world. But by following their mood, one can awaken that attraction also. That is Raganuga. So the Shasana of the Shastra, what it says, Smartavya Satatam Vishnu, Vismartavya Najatuchit, Sarva Vidhi Nishedha Hasyu, Etayoreva Kinkaraha. So the Shastra is saying, always remember Krishna, Smartavya Satatam Vishnu. And it says, Vismartavya, don't forget him anytime. And all the rules and regulations are actually the servants of these two. So all the rules and regulations are meant to serve this purpose, that we always remember Krishna, never forget Vishnu or Krishna. Okay. So that's how, because Shastra is telling, we try to do that. Shastra is telling, chant the holy names, then we do it like that. Okay. So then now this is a definition of what is raga, but basically I already explained. Raga is a spontaneous, natural attraction for the object of our love. Just as eyes are spontaneously looking to look at beautiful objects. Chakshuradinam saundaryadav. Immediately the eyes are automatically pulled towards any beautiful object. If suppose a boy, then if suppose a beautiful girl is walking, then immediately eyes go there. You have to stop them actually. So that natural, spontaneous attraction, if suppose Bhagavati asti, Bhaktasya Bhagavati asti chet, tad Bhagavati ragaha. So that raga, if it's not there, then we do it based on the injunctions of the Shastras. That's why it's called Vaidhi Sadhana. Okay? So that's a definition. Then who is eligible for Vaidhi Sadhana? The definition is also given here. यः केनाप्यति भाग्येन जातशब्दोऽस्य सेवने नातिसक्तो न वैराग्यभाग् अस्याम् अधिकार्यसौ. So he's telling, Rupa Goswami is telling, kenapi, by someone who is ati bhagyena, because of great good fortune, jata shaddaha asya sevane, asya nama Krishnasya sevane. In Krishna's service, their shraddha, their faith has somehow got arisen because of ati bhagyena, because of good fortune. The session details in my group, right? The our group of our friends, classmates. There are about 50 people. All of them, an open invitation I have given. How many of people, first of all, joined the group, our group, this discussion group? And that maybe 3, 4 of them. And within that, how many of them are diligently attending the session? Even if they don't attend, how many of them are hearing? See, you can see, right, how you can see how it's, people have to be really fortunate to hear this knowledge. There somehow or the other, kenapi ati bhakena, some service we have done in the previous life to a devotee. So that's why now Krishna is awakening again by giving association of devotees. And that person should be ati sa asaktaha, should not be too attached to material enjoyment. Or he should not be vairagya bhak. He should not be too detached also. If you're too attached to material enjoyment, you'll be restless. You cannot focus on chanting. You'll be thinking, oh, I would rather do karma kanda and go to swarga. Why will I do this bhakti? He will feel. And if he's too detached, then he will feel a jnana marga is better for him. So here he goes to karma yoga. Here he goes to jnana yoga because, oh, I don't like relationship. I'm too much, everything is frustration. I don't want to deal with people. It's too detached. So then for them, the other paths are better. But somebody is in the middle, is neither too attached to enjoyment nor too detached. For that person, why the sadhana bhakti is perfect for him. Because then his heart is soft. So bhakti is meant to make our heart more and more soft so we can feel emotions for Krishna. So that bhakti will do that. The process of bhakti will do that. Okay, this is a question about, what if I have other desires? I told, right? Uttama bhakti means anya abhilashita shunyam. But whereas, in Gita it says that Krishna says, Chaturvidha bhajante mam artho jignasir artharthi jnani cha bharta rishabha. He says, the four types of people come and worship me. He says, who has desire for material wealth, who has distressed, or who is seeking knowledge, or who is curious. If suppose all these people have some desire and they come to Krishna, then what will happen? It's not called pure devotion. Then how will they become eligible to become pure devotion? How will they become adhikaris? That is described in this shloka or in the paragraph. So that is described that here, Tattad Bhava, see, तत्र गीतादिषु उक्तानां चतुर्णाम् अधिकारिणां मध्ये यस्मिन् भगवतः कृपा स्यात्, whoever has the mercy of Krishna, tat priyasya va, or the mercy of devotees, sa kshina tattad bhavaha, so that intense desire for removing distress or getting wealth will gradually get depleted. In sense, it doesn't become so intense. Syat, then Shuddha Bhakti Adhikaravan, he becomes eligible to the Shuddha Bhakti, pure devotion. So again, we are seeing the mercy of Krishna or devotees, even though somehow we entered bhakti now, but we entered with an impure desire. So if suppose we don't get mercy, after our impure desire clears away, we again go away from bhakti. We say, okay, now my distress gone away, I will go. But whoever gets a mercy, they will understand, oh, actually they're talking about higher goal, much more than my distress. I want to make that goal of my life. So same thing in my life also personally I can share. So when I took up Krishna consciousness, when I was like 24, like that, I was in deep distress, but for some reason, and then, but so I was looking, and then somehow from the heart, I got the inspiration, Bhagavad-gītā solution in problems of life. So then I approached, and that's how I came to Krishna consciousness. Of course, very fast, my distress went away. But on top of it, I felt actually, wow, this goal of my life, I should make this goal of my life much more beyond my distress. Then that's how I decided that I want to marry a like-minded person, and that's how my journey started. And so that's how we receive the mercy that we can go beyond our initial motivations and slowly become pure in our desire to practice bhakti. Okay, these are examples like Gajendra. He was disturbed, he's an elephant. He was very distressed, but then finally the distress went away. Similarly, Shaunakadi, Manigunaha, they also wanted Swarga actually. They wanted Swarga, but then they also got pure devotional service. Dhruva wanted 5-year-old. He wanted a kingdom bigger than his grandfather, Brahma. But after that, when he got darshan of Krishna, Vishnu, he says, oh, why did I ask for wealth? I'm asking, when I got diamond, I'm asking for broken pieces of glass, he says. Then Sanakadaya, the four Kumaras, they wanted moksha, but they became also devotees. Okay, so these are examples of how our initial motivation can be purified. So no worries, if you have initial motivation, it's fine. Okay. Because Krishna, it's called Akama Sarva Kamo Va Moksha Kamo Dharati Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Yajeta Purusha Param. He says, Akama, if you don't have any desires, Moksha Kama, if you have desire for liberation, or Sarva Kama, if you have all desires also, just approach Krishna only because he knows how to satisfy us and give us whatever is needed to make us happy in our devotion service. So then, so in this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, our Acharya explains actually now we need to, somebody has to give us the rules. How do I do this Bhakti? So he gives actually 64 elements of doing Bhakti. I am now covering only 5 of them because this is an overview. At certain point, maybe at later stages, we can always cover more details. So first, 5 main limbs, right? Within that, very more importantly, most importance is given to this aspect of accepting a spiritual master. I'm just summarizing, so that's why this becomes very crucial. Because for any knowledge, we need a teacher. No, nothing can be learnt on our own. Even like to learn ABC or any material science, we have a teacher. So similarly, to know how to proceed further in bhakti, and whenever there's a crucial decisions we need to take in our life, this way or that way, should I go to America, should I stay here, should I quit my job, to should I marry this person, of course all these things the spiritual master, he guides us according to our inclination, and he will give us such a way that our progress towards the goal becomes very very efficient. So he is a personal guide for us, and he's also like a sponsor, because when we go to spiritual world, somebody has to tell, okay, I trained this person and I made him qualified, so please Krishna accept him. So like that, spiritual master is sponsoring our application to the spiritual world. Okay, that becomes very crucial at certain point. Somebody has to uh, come to this decision. Okay, I'm very serious about the path, I want to make further progress. Then I am at a stage, okay, now how do I choose my spiritual master? And they start asking those questions. Now, but we are talking about the 5 main limbs, which are the last 4 limbs, 5 limbs. What are they? The first is called the worshipping the deity in the temple. The next one is called hearing Srimad Bhagavatam in association of like-minded devotees. Next one is called association with devotees. Next one is chanting the holy name of the Lord, either together in a kirtan or individually through japa, and living in a holy place of Mathura. And in this, the acharyas have commented, if we don't live physically in Mathura, we can always live near the temple, serve closer to the temple, or we can also make our home a temple. We can have photos and we can do offer bhoga, offer prasadam, we can do kirtan at home, make the whole home a temple. So all these are actually 5 main limbs which makes us come to prema very quickly. So our Srila Prabhupada has given a system in our Krishna Consciousness Society where every day devotees do everything actually. Who live close to temple, they attend morning program with the deities. There is a Bhagavatam class in the temple. Because of that, there's association of devotees. They serve together and serve bhoga for Krishna, prepare. And after that, during the kirtans, there is a deity offering, is opening the deity or darshan. There is kirtan going on, and then the temple itself is uh, non-different from holy place. So that way, expertly, Srila Prabhupada has combined all these things in a day-to-day, every devotee's life, so that somebody has to give a curriculum, right? This will be as bullets in the book, unless somebody gives some recipe how to do put everything together. So that's how our Srila Prabhupada has done. That's why he said, for everything we have society. To learn how to drink, there is a society. To learn how to smoke, there is a society. To learn how to enjoy, there are societies. So there should be a society for spiritual life. So amazing. That's why it's called in International Society for Krishna Consciousness. To develop Krishna consciousness, we need a society where like-minded people come together, discuss, ask questions, and inquire from each other and reveal their hearts, things like that. So that's a great mercy in this age of Kali Yuga. So, and of course, there's another point is that one may be inclined to do only one part, or one may be inclined to do everything. So, based on our swa vasana anusarena, based on our inclination from previous lives, one can take up one or the other or any of them, no problem at all. Okay, so next, there are 9 ways to express this bhakti. Navavida bhakti. What are the ways? That's called very important shloka given by Prahlad Maharaj in Srimad Bhagavatam in 7th canto. He was only 5 year old, right? Narasimhadev was, sorry, Hiranyakashipu was troubling him. So he was instructing this to his demoniac schoolmates. Then he's giving this 9 process of bhakti. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Mandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. So he's saying, Shravanam, hearing about Krishna, hearing about his qualities, hearing prayers, Kirtanam. So if you have sufficiently heard, you can share with others, share with your family members. like that, kirtanam, glorify or do kirtan, sing songs, sing shlokas of Vishnu. Vishnu means Krishna, everybody. So then finally, when both of them are perfect, at certain point we can remember. When we are not doing anything, we are quiet. Suddenly we can remember what we have read, what we have heard, like that. Pada Sevanam is worshipping the lotus feet in the deity, doing service to the deity, like helping with cut vegetables, preparing boga, and like that. And then Archanam, do offering or arti to Krishna in the temple. Vandanam, offering prayers, being a servant, dasyam, being a servant of doing menial service in temple, and like that. Sakyam, being a friend. Krishna wants everybody to come back home, back to Godhead. Being a friend, we can understand Krishna's desire and help in share this message, like that. And Atma Nivedanam, complete surrender. Krishna, you are you are everything for me. You are my only shelter. So I'm at your lotus feet. You can do whatever you want with me. So that's a complete surrender. And each of them, there is a personality in Srimad Bhagavatam who um, illustrates this concept to the topmost. For example, Shravanam is Parikshit Maharaj, Kirtanam is Shukadev Goswami, like that. Smaranam is Prahlad Maharaj, like that is given, all the details and the pastimes are given. And what Prahlad Maharaj is telling is that one one who does all of this, he is actually Adhitam Uttamam. Whatever he studied is the topmost knowledge. That he said aham manye, he says that what I consider manye, I consider the person who does all of this, that is actually the real knowledge, he's telling. Okay, this is same thing in some Sanskrit. Okay, so these are the 9 ways we have to do devotional service, starting with Shravanam. That's why initially I mentioned, first we start with Shravanam, then gradually it comes to Smaranam. Okay, so now this is another important thing. How do I measure where I am and what are the stages I could experience in if I follow this bhakti, right? Like, are there stages? Like, are there measurable stages? Because that's why we call it scientific, right? There is you should define a stage, you should define symptoms of the stage. So I know, oh, I'm here. Okay, I can go there next, like that. You should have a roadmap how to reach prema. So that's what is given by our Rupa Goswami Acharya in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. आदौ श्रद्धा ततः साधु संगोत्त भजन क्रिया ततो नर्त निवृत्ति स्यात् ततो निष्ठा रुचि ततः तथासक्ति ततो भाव तथा प्रेमाभ्युदंचति. So pradurbhava means it's awakened or it increases. Bhavet is kramaha, gradually. Premnaha, love. Sadhakanam, within the devotees. How? Adav Shraddha. So initially there is some faith. Okay? Shraddha. Okay, Shraddha Shabde, what is Shraddha? Shraddha Shabde Vishwasa Kahe Sudruda Nishchaya Krishna Bhakti Kaila Sarva Karma Krutahaya. What is it? It's a Bengali verse. It says Shraddha means confident, firm faith that by rendering service to Krishna, one automatically performs all other activities. That means I will take care of my family, I'll take care of my forefathers, everybody, just by serving the root, which is Krishna. Yathataror mula nishechanena. By serving the water at the root of the tree, all the limbs are satisfied. Similarly, if he has that faith, okay, I have to do only one thing in life. I have to serve Krishna. That's it. That's it. And all other things are taken care. If he has that faith, that is called Shraddha. Also, Shraddha also means Shastra Artha Vishwasaha. It's faith in the meanings of the Shastras or the conclusions of the Shastra. Because Vaidhi Sadhana is about Shastra Shasanam. So that's why he has faith. Okay, Shastra is telling. So I don't again doubt. I don't tell, oh, is this real Shastra? Is it written properly? I don't doubt. I accept. Yes, Shastra is telling. I should do it. So then what will happen? Gradually you will get association of devotees. So I have given a chart for this. So once you get Shraddha a little bit by hearing from a devotee, we'll start beginning some faith. Yes, yes, seems good. I want to do this. Okay, little bit faith in Krishna Bhakti. Then association of devotee comes. Then in the association of devotee, they will tell, chant like this, avoid offenses, you do like this, you offer boga like this. They will train us gradually. Then we begin the bhajana kriya. We begin the process of chanting. We begin and gradually we have to increase like that. Then we start hearing. Then at this stage, at certain point, when we are serious, then we understand importance of spiritual master. Then we accept a spiritual master. Then in that process, now we are guided completely by spiritual master. Practically, they know based on situation what's the right thing to do. Then begins the actual cleansing. Anartha nivritti. Anartha nivritti means all the dirty things: lust, anger, greed, pride, illusion, envy goes away from the heart. Okay, and this is also a stage where aprarabdha and prarabdha papa will go away at this point. That bhakti is starting to become very, very strong. And then all the other desires other than devotional service also start going away. So we no longer hanker for, many other things. We just feel like I'm so happy in doing things related to Krishna. So we would rather be, no, of course, definitely, nobody can do it without happiness. So we are actually getting higher taste or higher happiness. Otherwise, how would somebody do that for 20 years or 50 years? How would somebody chant the holy name? And all these people are intelligent people. How are able to do unless they get the real happiness? The soul is really satisfied now, not just the cage, the body. Body also will be satisfied because we are giving prasadam. Krishna eats nice prasadam and devotee also eats the eats nice bhoga and devotee gets the remnants and relishes. Then after this is actually a crucial stage for anybody. It may take many years or many lifetimes because based on the intensity of bhakti, it may go faster or many lifetimes. Then then once this crosses this stage, then become very, very fixed. Nishtha become very fixed. Nobody can disturb him. If anybody comes and tells you, don't do this, what's the point? Did you see Krishna? Will he come? You will not get disturbed because you have direct experience. You're seeing, oh, I'm experiencing happiness. I cannot explain to you. Unless you follow, you will not know. So but you are fixed, you are happy, you do your own thing, no problem at all. Even if suppose there are disturbances, you will not get disturbed. Or if somebody tells, no, no, do jnana yoga, do karma yoga, other things, you do meditate on impersonal Brahman, you will not get disturbed. None of the other philosophies disturb him. You are fixed, you know the philosophy, and you are very clear, you are studying from shastras, your intelligence is trained, and you're directly experiencing, and you already covered all the disturbing things are removed from your heart. So you become slowly fixed up. Okay, then Nishta, then Ruchi. After that, you start to get a real taste. Oh, at this point, I would rather hear this class than doing anything else. See how, for example, when suppose children, they like cricket, right? Suppose a real match is India-Pakistan matches, finals are going on, right? Everybody's so hooked up. They have so much taste. Even if you give the most favorite food for them, like pakoras or biryani, very, very tastily made, which usually they love, for example, their favorite food, they don't want to taste. They just want to be get immersed. Okay, this is the last five balls. What's going to happen? Nobody should talk. Nobody should disturb. They're so immersed. So like that, if you get the taste in the bhakti, then you like, oh, we experience, for example, earlier. Now the kids don't have time because they go at 6:30 6:30. Usually when we have breakfast, we all together we listen to some Krishna katha while eating breakfast. So and but one of the kid will be talkative, they want to talk something else, but others are very eager to listen. So then if somebody talks something else, we will be like, hey, Arey Baba, don't talk. If you talk, you pause and talk. So we'll all be fighting like this. So that's, we are so eager to hear, what's happening. What is this, this is actual breaking news. These days we all hear breaking news. Breaking news, Krishna broke this pot today. And, all the gopis are complaining about him like that, that's a breaking news. Then after the ruchi, you become this a taste have come now attached. You're all attached to the practices of bhakti and attached to the person. Everything. If somebody says something about Krishna, you cannot handle it. Like that. You're personally now slowly getting your mind. So far you engage your senses first with bhajana kriya. Now mind intelligence are also involved. Now slowly your heart is getting involved here. Now you're getting attached to the person. Then bhava, now here you get emotions are involved. You can feel for that person. You can feel that I'm living here without Krishna and I miss him. You How a mother feels for a child when he goes to school, small child, first time he going to preschool, right? Then so long, 3 4 years, the mother took care, and suddenly now for 4 hours the kid is disappeared. So immediately when she sees the kid's foot chappal, she remembers the kid. Oh, I miss my child. Okay, if he was there, I would feed him like this. I would do that like this. So similarly, now the devotee has involved in emotions with Krishna, that anything related to Krishna, they see their name, his name or his photo, then immediately they remember Krishna so much with deep emotion. And there are also symptoms here. We'll not go into this, but basically they don't waste 1 second of time. Avyartha kalatvam. They don't even waste 1 second. Every minute where they want to either serve Krishna or hear about Krishna or cook boga for Krishna or eat prasadam, something or the other they will be doing, all in the same topic, all surrounded, centered in Krishna. That's the highest stage, bhava. Emotions are involved. And then the bhava is the beginning stage of prema. So just the bhava is developed more and more. It becomes more and more thickened and condensed. That's become prema, where even 1 minute it's become very, very thick, where it attracts Krishna and they are always in a loving the emotion with Krishna. So that's a higher stages. So we see now a sequence. So where we are and how to go, all this happens just by diligently doing the sadhana or the regulative principles, like the 64 parts, and within that the five things which you already discussed, and expressing them in Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Now, what about detachment? Like we have to deal with so many things in this world. They are going to distract us. So how do we deal with this world while we are doing this, right? How that's a very important question to ask, right? So far, so many things have been distracting us, maybe TV or all this. So should I dump all of them in a dumpster and do something different? No, there is a very, very practical way to do that. So the Falgu Vairagya, or or rather partial or imperfect renunciation. Vairagya means renunciation. Imperfect renunciation means because of prapanchikataya buddhya, because of the worldly mentality, Hari Sambandhi Vastunaha, the objects which are related to Hari, mumukshibihi, people who are desiring for moksha, parityagaha, they renounce them, they give up. Vairagyam phalgu katyate. Such renunciation is called phalgu vairagya. That means even though some object can be used in Krishna's service, people become too much into desiring moksha. They say, oh, this is causing distraction for me. I will give you this up. I will give this up. Oh, my problem for distraction is this TV. I will break it. My problem for distraction is my family members. I will leave. I'll give them up and go. That is called phalgu vairagya. But real vairagya, yukta vairagya, which were connecting everything to Krishna. See, again the word yukta is coming. We are connecting everything to Krishna. Is that अनासक्तस्य विषयान् यथार्हन्युपयुञ्जतः निर्बन्धकृष्णसम्बन्धे युक्तं वैराग्यमुच्यते. Anasaktasya, without personal desire for enjoyment, vishayan, the objects, yata arham upayunjataha, as appropriate, they are utilized in Krishna's service. Upayunjataha. Upayogam karoti, or upayoga, like upayogam, in Telugu also the word is there, right? Upayogam chestaru, like that. They use them in Krishna service. Yatarham, as appropriate. Nirbandhaha, because of that, he will not encounter any bondage. Because he is using only in Krishna service. He is using for Krishna service, Krishna's pleasure. So, for example, he sees a rose on the tree. He also says, wow, so beautiful rose. But a materialistic person, he wants to pluck it for his own enjoyment. He says, yes, I'm going to pluck it. Maybe I'll give it to my girlfriend. She will be happy and she will spend time with me. Or a renunciate or a tyagi or a jnana yogi says, oh, this is Maya, neti neti. I don't want to do anything. It's very attractive, but I don't want to look at it. Okay, he gives it up. But whereas a devotee, what he does, wow, this rose, I will take it, offer to a deity, or my photo of Radha Krishna I have in my home. So he's using it in Krishna service. So that's the right way. Another example is given. Let's say three people are walking on the road and they see a 100 rupee note which is lie down on the floor. Somebody forgot it and left it accidentally. So a karmi or a bhogi, what he does, he sees that it's like, yes, wow, what a mercy! What is this? Lottery today. Somebody gave. Krishna is so kind. He gave me this money. I'm going to use it to enjoy, to buy a cake or buy a cigarette or whatever. So he takes it and use it for his own enjoyment. That is a karmi or a bhogi. But suppose a jnana yogi goes, he's into too much detachment. He sees, oh, 100 rupee note. I don't care. I don't need to do anything with it. Money is Maya. I don't care. I don't have to do anything. He walks away from there. But whereas a devotee comes and says, oh, 100 rupee note, somebody left it. Okay, how do I find it? Especially if it's a purse, then you can find identity and try to contact them. So this person will try to contact that person, give the money. Now he doesn't know who is this 100 rupee. So what he does, okay, I don't know what to do. So okay, let me go and put it in a hundi. So maybe Krishna will take it and that person will get benefited. So you see, right? Different people are reacting to things differently. Karma yogi wants to enjoy. Jnana yogi wants to reject because he doesn't know how to connect it with Krishna. But a bhakti yogi, or the real yogi, or yukta vairagi, he knows how to use everything Krishna's service and uses them, and that way he gets also not bound, and at the same time he makes progress in this world where there are all lot of objects around him. So similarly, Srila Prabhupada, this is an image of Srila Prabhupada. He is a sadhu. He was in Vrindavan, but his guru gave instruction: you go preach in the Western world. But at that time, it was a taboo to leave the seven oceans. So nobody leaves India because Bharat Bhumi is considered a pious Bhumi. Anybody leaves India, they considered their jati is jati brashta. Everybody rejects them from their caste and everything. But Prabhupada took it as my instruction of my Guru Maharaj, I have to do it. And he took a boat and he crossed the seven oceans, and then he went to the west. He climbed the Jaladuta. So, in a way, you can say, oh, this traveling and this boat journey, everything is Maya, I should not do it. But he said, oh, I can use this to serve the instruction of my spiritual master who used it. And because of which now Bhagavad-Gītā is written in different languages, and there is society and there are temples. Because of that, we all got benefited. So that is a real renunciation, to use everything. And for that, there's a science, we need an expert person to guide us how to use everything. If you don't have intelligence, how to use it. For example, TV. Right now, the computer I'm using Zoom system. I'm using pointers. I'm using mouse. Everything for what? To glorify Krishna. So this is the right way to use things. I can use the same thing for watching movie, enjoyment, right? But that is enjoyment, and this is bhakti. That's a difference. This is a real way to deal with things in this world. Okay, so continuing again. Oh, I'm continuing the same thing. Oh, the second slide is also same. Okay, now that's, I think, the wrap up of the whole the system. So we'll wrap up with the meditation on a particular verse related to bhakti. Kashayanna, okay, काषायान्न च भोजनादिनियमान् नो वावने वासतो व्याख्यानाद्यतवा मुनिव्रतभरात् चित्तोद्भव क्षीयते किन्तु स्फीतकलिन्दशैलतनया तीरेषु विक्रीडतो गोविन्दस्य पदारविन्दभजना Rambasya leshadapi. So what they're telling is, there is a lust in our heart. Lust is a desire to enjoy. It can be in many, many ways. It's like enjoying the objects. Like, for example, I want to eat very good things without caring to offering, or I want to watch movies, or I want to enjoy with, sexual relationship with the opposite sex. There are the many, many levels. There are gross, there are subtle, everything. So how can the desire to enjoy separate from Krishna be removed? That is called Udbhavaha. This one. Chittodbhavaha. Chittodbhavaha. That's the urge in the heart for enjoyment. Kshiyate. How do we remove it? Then they're telling Kashayanna, by accepting sannyasa swikaranena. By accepting sannyasa, that doesn't go away. Just the sannyasa is just a dress you're changing, but the internal desires will not go away. Bhojanadi niyamena. By doing proper regulations, like, okay, I will restrict myself, I do this, that will not also go away, because the desire will remain. Nobody is watching, again we'll end up doing it. Nirjanavane vasanena, nivasanena. By giving up this world and going to the forest and living also, it doesn't go away, because there again we'll see some other things to enjoy, and we'll enjoy there. Vishishta prabhavashali vyakyana shavanena. By hearing great talk which is not related to bhakti, By hearing that also, it doesn't go away. It's just intellectual level. It just stimulates our brain intelligence. That's it. It doesn't remove the desires from the heart. Mauna Vratena, by following Mauna Vrata also, it doesn't go away. What doesn't go away? Kama Vasana, the desire to enjoy. Nakshiyante, doesn't go away. Kevalam Yamunayaha Vishala Tire Gopa Gopibhi Saha Vikriditaha Govindasya Padaravindasya Bhajana Arambasya Lesha Matrena Eva Sarve Kama Vasanaha Shiyante. Just by Yamunayaha Vishala Tire, by at the what to say, shore of broad wide ocean of Yamuna, Krishna is playing with Gopas and Gopis. Vikriditaha is playing that Govinda. If you do little bit, Padara Vindasya, his lotus feet is like his feet are like lotus. By serving Bhajana Arambasya, little bit beginning of Bhajana to his lotus feet. Even little bit, Lesha Matram, even little bit, if you do, Sarve Kama Vasanaha Kshiyante. That's where our Vasana starts going away. Because now we are doing the higher taste. We are getting higher taste, then automatically the lower taste go away. So this is the practical way to deal with all our impurities in our heart, deal with the world, at the same time make progress in bhakti, different stages, Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, everything, and again ultimately attain prema. So that is the discussion for today. So what we have discussed is, again we came back to Bhakti Yoga as a topmost system, and then we are discussing, among this there is sadhana bhakti, where we are following, we are practicing. Within that there are two types. There is raganuga, where we are following the emotion of the Vrajavasis at the higher stage, but practically what generally everybody does is using their senses in expressing or increasing their devotion. And how does it work? Even though they are material, because of service attitude, the Bhakti Devi descends in our senses and it gives us experience of happiness, of the spiritual happiness. And then Vaidhi Sadhana is about the rules, following the rules of Vidhis, rules and regulations. There are 5 main limbs we discussed, which are very potent in attaining prema, which is like hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and association with devotees, chanting the holy names, residing in temple, and deity worship, everything. And there are 9 ways to express bhakti: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. These are the varieties available for us to express our devotion. And the sequence, how do we make progress, one stage to other stage, where we are, and what should we look forward for, what will happen, everything is shown. And then we also discussed how do we deal with objects in the world, what is real renunciation, what is false renunciation, with several examples of a 100 rupee note, also with the TV monitors, or or a rose flower, like that. And finally, how do we conquer this desire to enjoy separate from Krishna, is by again connecting back and start rendering service to him. So that's what is today's session. So now we will conclude with Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. So all the wonderful things we have shared, it's all by the mercy of my spiritual masters, who have so far blessed me, give their blessings to give some realization which I could share. And any mistakes are all my mistakes. I am still learning. So please excuse them and take the essence from here. So now we can open up for some questions or comments if anybody has. Hope you are listening. It's not like a one-way street.
Yes, we are listening, Śyāmalā. Sorry, we were like outside, but
Okay.
I wait for this session because it's very inspiring. But my inspiring is really not getting into the practical thing. I say yes, I want to do, but that is also not coming up. I have to make an effort, because the point that I took from today's session, the beautiful one, is when you do the chanting, then everything else works across. I know whatever you said is very deep down, but I think that one thing will start opening up, my understanding of whatever has been said today. One more question, Shamalaji. There is Adhik Maas that I've heard that is happening this month. What is it? I know I can check it from the net, but if you can give me in one line brief or two line brief, what is it?
So basically, their calendars, there's difference. Like every month, every year, there is little days left. There is some in the calculation to make the proper calendar of 12 months.
Okay.
This is a Vedic calendar. Every year, little days are left. So that all these days are accumulated together and becomes an extra month in a certain fourth year. So that's called Purushottam Adhika Mas. So that Mas is considered very spiritually potent. Any spiritual things we do will have thousand-fold impact. So that's why it's very important in this month. People actually take up extra vows, like, okay, I will chant regularly, or I will do more, or I will do more reading, whatever they do, so that it gives us basically, it's like a bonus deal within this 1 month. You're getting a special discount, like, one like that. So somehow or the other, this month at least, if you try to do that one round, or don't worry if chanting is becoming difficult, if you like to hear, so you'd hear. That's very good, no problem. See, there I will give you at the end of this series. I'll give you pointers to other discourses which you can hear, Srila Prabhupada's or other people. So just keep hearing, no problem. That's also part of devotion. It's not just only chanting. Just, we have to, based on our inclination, based on our practical situation. Sometimes hearing may be easy. While driving in the car, you can just keep hearing, or while cooking, you can hear, like that. So you can start with anything which is more natural for you first. Don't no worries at all. Okay. Then eventually you can come to naturally chanting. No problem. Okay. Thank you. Okay, Sujata, you have any thoughts?
Pranati, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm good.
You're good. Okay. Because all of you were asking, right, how eventually I can think of Krishna. So that's why, we discussed the stages, where we are, all these things. Thank you so much then. So we'll wrap up here. Happy rest of the Sunday for all of you. Take care. Hare Krishna. See you all next week.
Hare
Thank you.